Hey everybody, it's Dr. Adam with My Family Chiropractic. We're coming to you live and in person here for our class tonight on text neck. So what is text neck? So a lot of people, and those of you online watching, I am talking to our patients that are here. So if I'm not looking at you like I normally do, it's because we have people here. So what is text neck? Text neck is when it's now called text neck. Before it was called forward head translation or forward head posture, which you hear me use in the office on the regular. And what text neck is it's because our heads are going forward, and we call it text neck because that's now the DSM, so the diagnosis service manual that we're all supposed to use to put in diagnoses for how well or what's going on with you. Text neck is now the new thing in the DSM-5. And so what is it? It means forward head translation. So it means our heads are going forward from our shoulders and causing pressure onto our cervical spine and even into our low back. Now, there's a lot of things that cause text neck, not just texting. But that's what we think of. We think of people on their phones looking down, right? That's what we think of with text neck. However, what are some things that you do on the regular that you're looking down, not dealing with your phone? What do you think? Crystal, any ideas?
Typing.
Typing. Good.
Painting. Painting.
How about cooking? Right? When we cook, we're looking down and we're chopping vegetables or what have you. So there is cooking that we do, or even reading a book, looking down, all of those things, looking down to pick up granddaughters, definitely, right? Looking at a menu. Pretty much everything we do in life is looking down, okay? Now, how do we combat text neck? What are some things that you think we can do to combat text neck? And if you want to share, you're more than welcome to. If you don't, just give me a thumb,
Look up.
Look up, okay? And we talked about that today, didn't we? So what do we say is a good way to combat that forward head posture? To look up for how much?
100 times for 10 seconds.
Yep, so looking up for 100 times a day, 10 seconds each time. Now that sounds like a lot, 100, so that's 1,000 seconds. How long is that? That's 16 minutes. And if we look at 16 minutes, if you watch an hour program on TV, so like, what's one of the ones that you love with Castle?
Oh, the Rookie.
The Rookie. A lot of people love watching The Rookie. It's an hour program on ABC about a guy who was in construction and became a police officer in his 40s, right? But it's an hour-long program. Well, the commercials that happen during that hour-long program are 18 minutes. So all I'm asking you to do is look up during the commercials, right? That's basically all we're asking.
It's a way to kill time.
It's a great way to not just kill time, but be productive with the time, because we're actually doing something to benefit ourselves. And don't get me wrong, I have no problem if people want to sit down and watch an hour program here and there. It's probably not a good idea to sit down and watch 6 or 8 hours of programs, right? But to watch a program here and there, that's perfectly fine. Get up and move too, though. Okay? So making sure that we're taking that time to look up is huge. And if anybody online is wondering why I'm wearing these, this is my microphone. So this actually makes it easier for you to hear me, and I'm not sure if you can hear some of the people that are here as well, so that's why I'm going to be repeating this. So when we talk about forward head posture, we know that our brains and our body and our head, the average human head is between 8 and 10 pounds, okay? Any idea what this is?
8 pounds.
It's an 8-pound sledgehammer. With the handle is roughly 10 pounds, okay? Now, if we're holding it as we normally should, straight up, right? That weight is centered throughout our hand. Not too bad. But what do you think is going to happen if I start to lean it a little forward? 1 inch, or 2 inches, or 3 inches? Do you think that's going to be even harder for me to hold on to? Let's try it with you. So grab it right about here, because that's about where your shoulders are. And now we're going to just lean it a little forward. Do you feel how much that strain is?
Yes.
So, yeah, it really, you notice it. You notice it big time. And it's not like holding it
I
here.
want to try that one.
So yeah, so Crystal, come on out. So you noticed it almost instantly in your biceps,
Yeah,
didn't you?
I think, have a seat while you try that. I don't want you to have an advantage. That is
So,
a challenge.
right about here, okay? Because then if we look at that, this space represents the space between the head and her hand, represent the length of the neck. So now, it's heavy.
Yeah.
It's heavy,
Yeah.
right? Go ahead and go forward. It's a wee bit heavier, isn't it?
Yeah.
Go ahead and go forward.
If you imagine yourself
So now
carrying
the
that.
center of this is
Yeah.
actually right now only about 2.5, 3 inches. I've seen people come in with 4. Yeah, exactly. I've seen people come in with 4 and 5 inch forward head posture.
Yeah.
That is definitely going to cause damage on everybody. So, how are we going to combat it other than just looking up? And looking up is a great thing. What are some other ways that we can combat it? Well, one of the biggest things are Straighten Up America, the Posture Pod. Okay, and so many of you know about that. That's a class that we do that is focused on that. The other thing is taking a moment to do what I call angels. Now, angels are where you're going to take the palms of your hand and you're going to go back and you're going to feel a stretch through your chest and through your pectoralis muscle, and you're going to lean back just a little bit and look up. And you're going to feel that just open everything up in your chest, open everything up in your back, and relax the neck. Okay, so those angels, if you want to mix those with the lookups that you were talking about and do 50 and 50, those will make a huge difference. Now, some people like myself that have a shoulder injury might not be the best to do that with. Okay, and if that's the case, modify it. And if you're watching online, talk to me. I'll help you modify it. Because I want the best for you. I want you to have proper head posture. I don't want you way out here. And what's interesting is a lot of chiropractors. I was at a convention this weekend. Okay, it was called the Michigan Association of Chiropractors. So we have to go and do our continuing education classes, right? We have to make sure that we're on the up and up with all of our billing, our coding, our note taking, all of that type of stuff. And we have to make sure that everything's good. And we learn some fun stuff too. And it was very surprising walking around when I was looking at some of the chiropractors who've been in practice for 30, 40, 50 years. Okay, and yes, there are chiropractors, believe it or not, that have been in practice for 50 years. They have such bad forward head posture.
Yeah.
Horrible forward head posture. And why do you think that is? Why do you think that we as a profession have horrible forward head posture?
From bending over all the time, adjusting patients.
Because we are bent over adjusting a patient. So I will go into what's called a fencer stance when I adjust you. So I lower my center of gravity and I lean over just a little bit. So I'm in this fencer stance, right? And then I lean over. So instead of being here and having to bend here, I'm saving my back. I'm saving my neck. Do I have forward head posture? Yes. If I turn perfectly to the center here and I stand up in what I consider regular stance, this is just me standing here, I probably have about 1 inch of forward head posture. Okay? The average person that comes into our office has 2 inches of forward head posture. Like I said, I've seen 5. Have you ever seen people that develop a hump in the back of their neck? Okay? That is called a Dowager's hump. And I'm not sure if it's come up with a new name. We're trying to get away from what we call the dead man name. And that's like Down's syndrome is actually trisomy 21. So it's an issue with the genetics. And Dowager's, they're all, what they are is they're all these people's names that described it for the first time and put their own name on it. So we're trying to get away with that and use more generalized terms for it that actually explain it. So trisomy 21 makes a lot of sense. It means it has 3 chromosomes where it's supposed to have 2. And it tells you the chromosome numbers, 21, 21st chromosome. So that's Down syndrome, okay? However, there's a lot of other things. And Dowager's is one of those things that develops. Now, that develops because of forward head translation. Then our body starts to come back and then curves, and then we end up with something called hyperkyphosis. Now, hyperkyphosis, Crystal, if you wouldn't mind grabbing the spine for me. So hyperkyphosis, we're supposed to have 3 distinct curves in our spine. 2 lordotic curves and 1 kyphotic curve. I know these are huge names and terms. And so what a lordotic curve is a curve that we have in our low back, right? It's a curve towards our belly. So we have that there, and we're supposed to have it here. However, how many people do you think have a good lordotic curve in their neck? Take a wild guess.
30%.
30%? It's a good guess. It's more around 5 or 10. Mm-hmm. Because everything we do has us looking down. Okay? Now, most of the patients that have been everybody's on their phones, everybody's cooking, everybody's, driving. When you drive, is your head on the headrest? No. That's what it's designed for, is for your head to actually be resting on it when you drive. But none of us do that. We all drive like that. And so it makes it worse. So a Dowger's hump is this part of the curvature. Okay, we have a cervical curve here. And when that head goes forward and we lose that curve, then our lumbar typically tries to restore that curve. And then our thoracic starts to go a little bit forward. And now we're ending up with a Dowger's hump. And that's right about your shoulder blades.
So it's not just looking down. It's just being
forward head posture that has been left uncorrected for a while is part of the reason. The other reason is for the thoracic has to go into hyperkyphosis. Hyper meaning too much, kyphosis meaning this curve where it's pointing the curve towards your back. Where lordosis is a curve that's pointing towards your belly button. So that happens both in the neck and in the lumbar spine. But the kyphotic curve happens here, and it actually does happen in the sacrum. Okay. But the sacrum and coccyx actually moves, okay, compared to the sacrum. Sacrum is one giant bone that used to be several. So when you were a baby, there are several. So like you're with your granddaughter, there's several bones right now.
Okay.
However, when she gets to about 14, 15, those bones will be all one. Maybe even a little bit younger than that. And then when she's about 18, all the rest of the bones will be fully formed. So starting a child under chiropractic care, what that does is that prevents wear and tear in the spine from forward head posture, from kyphotic curvatures that are too much, or lordotic curvatures that are too much or not enough. It causes that to not wear the bone unevenly. So we're able to correct the alignment before the tires on your car get worn uneven. If you had a poor alignment on your car, it pulls your car one side or the other, right? So if you align your car and then replace your tires, you're great, right? Car drives wonderfully. What happens if you paid all the money to align your car but you never changed the tires? What would happen?
The tires would pull it back out of alignment?
The tires would pull it right back out of alignment. You are absolutely correct. That is why chiropractic is a lifetime thing. I can't reach in and change your bones. I just can't. They're worn in certain positions, or certain ways, right? They might be worn a little bit here, worn a little bit there. And so your body is always going to pull itself out to an area of comfort, not correctness. And the more we adjust in the beginning, the more we train your body to hold in proper alignments, the longer you start to hold, and the better you are a lifetime from now. And it continues to improve. That's why when I say that this is a lifetime commitment, it's not that you have to come see me for a lifetime. You don't have to see me another day in your life. But I beg of you to take care of your spine differently for the rest of your life. Because if you don't, degeneration and damage continues. And I don't want that for anybody, right? We want to help people achieve their absolute best, however that may be. That's why getting adjusted corrects that misalignment that's been worn in, kind of like correcting the alignment in your tires. And every time it goes out, we're just readjusting it. And it's going to get easier and easier and easier, and it's going to hold longer and longer and longer because the tires start to wear normally, just like your bones start to wear normally. And so it starts to even out. Will it ever truly even out? Of course not. Because the years and decades of abuse, and I'm not saying that any of you anywhere have abused yourself, but improper wear and tear is abuse. And it's wearing that down. And so years or decades of that can't be changed in 1 or 2 visits. But it can be combated against in a lifetime of care. And it can keep you longer and longer. I have patients that are under care, that have been under care in their 70s, that have zero arthritis in their spine. But they've been under care their entire life. I have other patients that have been under care for the majority of their life, since they were early kids, like 5 or 6, that are well into their 50s and 60s, that do construction, that are hard on their body. I mean, they're constantly beating themselves up. They plow. They are working as an EMT or firefighters or police officers, but they've been under care their entire life, and they have minimal to no arthritis. And these aren't jobs where people are relaxing. These are jobs where people are beating themselves up. But it's because they've taken care of their spine for years and decades. Many patients that walk through our doors are much like all of you and yourself here, that you didn't know about chiropractic. You didn't know how it can help. And you didn't know that it needed to be started much younger. That's why I'm thrilled that we have so many kids like your granddaughter that come in. Thrilled, because they will not have near the problems when they're our age as we do. So that's going to be my sign off to many of you there, because I'm going to, like I said, we're going to talk a little bit more here in person, and I want you to go ahead and refer your friends and family so that they can achieve their best. So definitely go ahead and send this to your friends and family. Let them know that we got to work on getting their head back over their shoulders, and to make sure that they're looking up much more often. And as always, we'll see you later this week and early next week for your adjustments. Take care.